Hey everybody, how are you? We're back again. Excuse the plane noise. If you haven't been here before, my name is Matt Wright. Help coaches with all kinds of things. Today we're going to be specifically talking about working with a team and what to do if they aren't getting anything done. But first, if you have a team or you have a business that's doing pretty well and you want to do better and you want to work less, a lot of times you can do so by effectively setting goals and helping your team work even faster through organized communication systems, project management, all those kinds of things. If you need some help with that, I got a free video series over on mattwrightscale.com. It is genuinely super awesome, very helpful. Again, mattwrightscale.com. And check that out. All right, today let's talk about what to do if you've got a team and they're not getting anything done. There's a couple big problems, and they can be the obvious causes of this. And the big one, which it comes down to you as a leader, is changing directions too often. If you're changing directions too often, it can mean that you don't have clear goals set for you and your organization. Because you don't have clear goals set, you can't actually commit to a plan that a team can follow along with. And when you can't commit to that, then you end up having them do this and that and this and that. And having a team can actually feel like a burden instead of an accelerator. So some ways to fix that are to go through an annual planning process, like I outlined on mattwrightscale.com. But generally that starts with looking at what do you want to accomplish in a year? What do you want to accomplish each quarter, month, and so on? And then you can break it down into tasks. And that'll give you, not only you, but both you and your team, focus for the day and then on to the larger scheme of the year. But when you break it down like that, you've got focus within the daily tasks. So that's number one, is if you don't have a big plan. The next big thing is you don't have an effective communication system. And there's a lot of simple rules that you can follow to create effective communication systems. So what I've run into with is a lot of people is when they first start with their team, the big thing that they do is they're just like, oh, well, I'll just text this guy, and because text is easy and I've got that on my phone. And whenever an idea comes to my head, I'll just message them on whatever platform I have in front of me at the time. It's kind of like the seafood diet. If I see food, I eat it, right? So you might use something like Voxer, you might use something like Messenger, you might use something like text, you might use, WhatsApp or Google. The big change or the big recommendation I have for you is that you need to specifically decide and communicate to your team what platform you're going to use on the daily. And there's kind of a combination of platforms you can use, but you need to have specific rules set around all of them. And the two that I recommend most often are Slack, because you can go back and you can search messages, and if you need to add voice messages, you can add it with an app. That's another note. And pairing it with Trello. Trello's a really great project management tool. If you use something else, that's okay tool too. But you just need to have a clear plan communicated to your team. And when you have these communication systems in place, rather than having to do what's called, what's it called? I forget the name right now, but just assigning people stuff and then, hey, did you do the thing? And then a couple hours later or a couple minutes later, hey, did you do the thing? Is the thing getting done? You actually have a way, a feedback loop from the team on if stuff is getting done automatically by connecting that communication system to your project management system. So if you're liking this kind of stuff, if it sounds cool, but it's totally not your jam, I can help you out. Head on over to mattwrightscale.com, my name, Scale, SCALE, .com, and there's a free video series there. Details my entire project management system and lots of tips for being a more effective leader in your organization. It's genuinely helpful. Recorded. It's a nice video. It's very short. It's like 15 minutes long. So if you need help with that kind of thing, head on over to mattwrightscale.com. Okay, let's talk about another big thing when it comes to feeling like your team isn't getting anything done. And this is really more of a organizational communication thing. And that is that if you use voice messages for everything, you imagine if you're Tony Robbins, okay? How many voicemails do you think Tony Robbins could get in a day if everybody knew his personal phone number? And how long would those voicemails be? Because all those voicemails that you get from random people, 3-4 minutes long, man, if you got 20 people leaving you 1 3-minute long voice messages on little tiny stuff that could have been communicated in a snippet. There's two big problems with voice messages. One, you can't skim them. With like Voxer Pro or with there's another service that'll transcribe voice messages to emails, but then you just got a load of emails. Who wants that? You have the ability to skim messages, which is extremely important for you as a leader in your organization, because you need to be able to accurately determine the priority of things. Prioritization is extremely important, not only for the larger tasks in your business, but also for or the goals in your business, but also for the daily tasks that you take care of. So I recommend moving away from voice messages as a primary means of communication. Things also tend to get very lost with voice messages. So what I tend to recommend to people is use voice messages for only very specific reasons. And that specific reason is just is to use them when you have like big ideas, like, oh man, like I got this big idea for like it's this giant red house and it's made of bricks and but the mortar's yellow and it's got giant glass windows and it's in a mountain surrounded by snow. It's like that kind of thing it's a little more conducive when you've just got those like spur of the moment ideas to use voice messages for. Some other things that can slow you down is not having a clear way for your team to report back to you. So if you just never meet with your team, you're probably not going to know what's getting done. And installing a daily meeting in your organization is going to be a massive benefit to you, because you'll be able to check in with your team. There's 3 questions you need to ask every day. The other 2 are on my video series, of course. But one of the big ones that I always encourage people to ask is, where do you need help? Because sometimes you assign something to somebody, but then they get stuck on it and they don't have a good avenue, whether it's through your communication systems or through your meeting agenda or your meeting cadence to, sorry, there's a jet taking off, or through your meeting cadence, they don't have a good way to communicate to you that they're stuck. They're going to feel like they're bugging you and annoying you. And having a way that your team members can each day relate to you where they need help, if they need help, is going to not only be a big pressure release for you, but it's also going to be a big pressure release for everybody who's under you in your organization. So that's all I got for today. I know this one's a little bit shorter. Quick recap, some big recommendations. Establish a plan for the year, and that'll give you some focus for the day. And it'll also, in doing that, if you integrate it with your project management system, you'll be able to track what's going on in your day-to-day. Establish a clear communication system so that stuff isn't getting lost. Prefer text messages to voice-based messages within your communication platform, because it's much easier to skim things. And what was the last one I went over? I forgot, but that last one. And as always, if you know someone who needs this kind of info, you can always press the share button, and you can always comment. I do reply to those. And if you need some help with this, you can always head on over to mattwrightscale.com, watch our free video series, and if at the end of it you decide you need a little more help, you can sign up for a call, and we'll have a chit-chat, and I'll see if I can help you out. All right, with that being said, you guys have an amazing day, and I will catch you tomorrow. Peace.